I'm so happy to see you.
I'm so happy to be a part of it.
How you doing today?
I am doing well. It's Friday.
I know, right?
I'm feeling so good. And I realize like I'm not one of those like real savvy millennials for real. I know we should know it, but I suck at technology and finding the right tools to make it useful.
Yeah, girl. But thank you so much for saying yes and for agreeing to do this. I really appreciate it.
Look, the privilege is really all mine. Like I've been trying my best to look at the schedule and trying to make sure like nothing interrupts it or block it out. I'm like, Lord,
I
just give
appreciate you
me
so
a block.
much. I
So I'm
appreciate you
glad.
because you just been on it, and I'm like, you crack me up because I think what you text me literally what last week? Last week?
Yeah, yeah. Because I really thought that was the time, and I was like, okay, I'm not gonna have an excuse. Like I'm gonna be ready, and I was too ready. So your vibes are just like awesome. Anyway, like
Girl, I can't with you.
I'm feeling good. This water, this chapstick, so my lips will get ashy. So
Man, mine I
we about
asked
to
you, but I have
talk.
no idea where my chapstick is.
You gotta keep them in different locations.
You have to,
Keep
right?
them.
You have
You have
to.
to. You have to.
Yeah. I'm working with one right now, so it's wherever it is, that's where it's at.
Behind. Go to your nearest beauty store today and just get like three random $1.99 ones because those are the good ones
Yeah, I have to. I have to. I'll do it. I'll do it. I promise.
today.
I will. Okay, I will. Hey, Portia, how are you doing?
I'm well. Am I addressing you as Runny or because like I
You
don't
can call
call
me
you
whatever
Runny.
you want. You can call me
Okay,
whatever you want.
I'm gonna keep it professional. I'm gonna call you Runny, but Block is at heart. So okay.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, thank you so much for being here today. To anyone listening, this is Portia Glover. Portia is actually one of my first cousins. So, yes, you may hear her call me Block. It's my family nickname, basically. So, Portia, I'm so happy to have you here. So, I brought you in because it's a part of this interview series in which we're kind of talking about the different ways that motherhood can look. Being a mom, becoming a mom, there's really no one clear cut path that works for everyone. And I know that you, on your journey, have had your own unique and different experiences. And I really would love to get to talk to you and just like learn more about everything that you went through and, kind of to where you are now. And I really think your story is probably going to really resonate with a lot of people. So thank you so much for agreeing to be here today.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. And it's really good that this is a good time because April, we can get into it a little bit later. So April is Infertility Month.
Mm,
So our subject, I think, is really good, and it's a good time to really celebrate it and to get more, just more insight about it, just hear from real life experiences. So I'm excited to
yeah.
talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So Portia, usually what I like to do is I like to have people introduce themselves. I'll introduce you in a formal intro that I record later, but I love to hear from you. Who's Portia? Like, what would you like people to know about you before we get started?
So of course, my name is Portia. Depending on who you ask, if we're in the country, maybe pork chop. Um, but nowadays, my main title or what I'm addressed all the time is mom. I'm really heavily involved with my kids, so I'm trying my best also not to lose sight of who I am. But I would say mom first and foremost, and then it's babe for my sweetheart, and then outside of that, I am just a people lover. And I'm a people lover when it comes to work because I'm in HR, so I like to remove obstacles for people. But if you know me close or even Facebook friends, I like to just be able to bring brightness to people. Like I'm really operating on this like you live once. So if I can provide some sort of like happiness to your life to make life easier, just motivate you, that drives me day in and day out. I think that would be probably the biggest thing that I would say that I'm dedicated to enhancing people's lives.
Yeah, I can totally get that. You definitely are a people lover. And it's one of the things that I absolutely love and adore about you, especially when it comes to our family and our family dynamic. So Portia actually does a lot of work to keep our family together, to kind of like keep those like back in the day, we used to do like all these cookouts and get together all the time. And, those have really dwindled over the years and, kind of just been limited to really just like, sad occasions. And Portia does a lot of work to make sure that our family actually keeps coming together, not just for sad moments, but to actually be together. So it's really amazing to also see that you do that in your work too, that whole aspect of being a people lover.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. So, today, since we're going to talk about, one of your roles, one of your names of being mom. So, Portia, I think that I'd like to just kind of let's just start back. Like, was there a moment that you realized that you first knew you wanted to be a mom?
That is a good question. Like when you're in elementary school and they ask you like 1,000 times, like, what do you want to do when you grow up?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I've always like added like one of those major clusters that they tell us that we should want to strive to be like a doctor, lawyer. So I always added like a doctor or a teacher in front, but it was always followed by a mom of two. And it's crazy. Now you got me thinking about it. I always said I wanted twins, a boy and a girl twin. Regardless of how many years my like that first job changed, was a teacher, doctor, ballerina, a couple of years. I always follow up by wanting to be a mom of two, a boy and a girl twins. Don't know why, but it stuck for years.
Yeah.
So I'll say as early as first grade. As early-
Yeah, as early as I think I was just talking to somebody recently about how they do. It's amazing thinking back how often they ask us that when we're kids. Like, what do you want to be when you grow up?
like I mean, a hot dog. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Like
right,
it's so
right.
early. Like you really have no idea what's out there. Like Mickey Mouse.
None. Yeah, like I remember when I was a kid, I wanted to work at McDonald's. I'm like, baby,
The Happy Meals probably. I mean,
right. Oh man. So then Portia, since that dream really kind of like was there, all along, when it came time to when you were ready to become a mom, when you were ready to try conceiving, what was that initial journey like for you?
so I think I think that I never really embraced. Let me just first of all start by saying like I've always had issues with like my cycle. My
Okay.
cycle was never regular. It started around age 12, so I never had a regular cycle. So just like going in and seeing doctors, seeing an OB early, like when I became sexually active, if I could say that because I'm very open. So it was one of those things where you were like, hey, because your cycles are very irregular. Where mom used to kind of ask like, what are some of the things that we would see that would happen? They would just casually say things like, when she's older, trying to conceive children, she would probably have issues.
Mm-hmm.
So it was always kind of thrown around loosely like that. But at 17 and 18, when I was seeing doctor more frequently, I wasn't really thinking about having children then.
Yeah.
I think it kind of dampened my spirits knowing that I wanted to be a mom someday, but I didn't really, I wasn't trying actively to have the children. So you just hope that you're not on that negative side of the
Yeah.
statistic.
Yeah.
So it wasn't really like I said, it didn't really impact me negatively hard then because it was just one of those things that you just kind of had casual in the conversations.
Yeah. Gotcha. That makes sense. And I mean, I didn't know that about you. And I think that's not something you just talk about at the barbecue, whenever you like hanging out, getting together. So I'm really glad like that I'm having an emotional reaction because, you're not just a guest, you're my cousin, you're my family. So, and you already know how much I express my love seeing you being happy with your family. So, I love you, girl. So,
Yes, yes, thank
so
you.
of course, of course. So having had that, knowledge and that awareness from a young age, then what did the journey to deciding to try to have kids, like what did it look like when you were older, with your husband? Like what was that like? Like was it a did you kind of like did you have this belief that you just kind of might not have kids?
So honestly, yes. So this is a crazy thing that and I always share this story. My husband's so perfectly fine with it. Um, so like anytime I would meet people, like before my husband, like when I was dating heavily between, 20s and everything like that, like I will always put that in like one of the early conversations.
Mm,
I'll say around whenever Tinder came out. Let's just say like Tinder came out in 2013, whatever. I mean, my husband
mm-hmm.
2016. So I was a serial. Tinder dater, okay?
Yeah.
So I was one of those ones that like even in those conversations that like they just like, hey, hypothetically, if we ever get deep, there may be a chance I may not have kids. Like I will put that out there just so that you would know that up front. Of course, you're gonna have these guys like, well, that's not gonna matter. I got super sperm, all that type of stuff. Like, but I will always put that on the table just so that you know, so that if we ever did get deep, it wouldn't be that like, hey, she didn't know, or you wouldn't
Mhm.
feel that you were forced to do that. And I think that also came too with the learning more about our family history. So for any of your listeners to know, so we come from a family full of ladies. Like our grandfather had, I don't even know the count, was it 10, maybe 10 daughters or whatever, and
I think it's
so through
10.
sons. Yeah, so that was a lot. And out of that, many of them, I know right off, four of them had difficulties because they didn't get pregnant. They had infertility issues. So like knowing that they could be hereditary, knowing my struggles and my journey, I would just put out on the table. So that was always something. And then, so when I met my husband, I think that I just really, by that time at 26, I started, me and you were like the researchers. So I started to tell him a lot more and bring numbers to him about,
Mhm.
what was going on. So
Yeah, yeah. And how did like what was his reaction to that?
he was just like, so it was kind of what some of the guys said too, was like, hey, you haven't, it could just be that it wasn't the right time or I got like, some type of thing. But one of the things he did say that was different was like, hey, we will cross that bridge when it's time.
Yeah.
And one thing about Tyler, like that man he reads, he researches, um, and then social media gets better every year, of
Mhm.
course. So anything that I'm reading and learning about, he's reading and learning about.
Yeah.
In the beginning, we thought it was just like an ovulation problem, so we researched ovulation.
Mhm.
So he was always that type of person. So that made it even more surreal that this
Yeah.
man, like, he was gonna try. He knew what my goals were.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I know how
Yeah,
much you love that man, so I love that for
love that
you.
man. Love that man. That man is fine. Okay,
And she's not shy. She's not shy to say it, and I love that.
I don't, I don't care. Like it was like your total is 1078 at Walmart. Guess what? My man is fine. I'm gonna pay that 1078. My man is fine.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So then what was the actual process that you guys went through? I think I have it down as IVF, but is that actually what you guys did?
Yes, yes. So it's IVF. So IVF stands for in vitro fertilization. And it's crazy. Before we even went through the process, I had a friend that I went to high school with. She actually went through IVF first. That was like the first time I really heard of what it was and knew someone who had did it. Because
Yeah.
like you would see things on TV like test tube babies and things like that. Never understood what that was. So when she had it, I still didn't think that it was something that was gonna be part of my journey because let's be honest with you, like she was a white woman. I didn't think that black
Mhm.
people do that. I'm gonna be honest with
Right.
you. I didn't think that black people do that. And then we went through several other things to get to that point, like going to see different doctors. Like I said, I thought it was the ovulation part, and then they had to try different scenarios, like see if my tubes were open. See, sorry, I think this something. What? Okay, I'm talking about you.
It was me,
Headphones
sorry.
went out. Okay. But we went through like several different trials, like just kind of able to see like if I was ovulating properly. So I also have PCOS, which is polycystic ovary syndrome. So to make sure I didn't have any active cysts on my in my ovaries, several different things that led us to discover that my tubes were just no good.
Mm.
This test called it is I think it's called the CG. I gotta look that up. I can't remember. But basically, they put like a certain like amount of ink through your tubes, and you hope that it comes out. Because if it comes all the way out, then that would mean your tubes are open, right? If not,
Yeah.
they'll kind of like accumulate in the blockage. It's not
Okay.
harmful to your body, but it can be painful if it's blocked. I'm gonna be honest with you, Will. So turns out I had horrible tubes. My tubes were blocked from scar tissue that just accumulated over years. I have no idea why,
Yeah.
and they were also just stretched, discombobulated. So we had to get those removed.
Mm.
So when we got those removed, then that made it very permanent. That made IVF the next choice. Even before we made the decision to get them removed, when she saw the condition of them, she knew that IVF was going to be what we needed to
Yeah.
move forward with. So,
Okay. Wow. See, once again, like I said, I didn't even know you went through that, but also I didn't even know that was a thing,
yeah,
like, yeah. So totally, yeah. So I'm glad that you said it, that, you just felt like black people just, that's IVF, that's just something they don't do. But that's kind of the thing, is that I think there's a lot of things that aren't talked about in our black community
right.
that also we just simply don't know about. So you saying that, like, how do you feel like that impacted, like, I don't know, just maybe the whole experience for you? Because I mean, you're literally just a newbie out here learning all this information now.
Think it made it really hard to talk to people in real time. Like
Yeah.
I mentioned about our aunties that went through different things like that. They just kind of chucked it up. Like when they couldn't have children or they were having ectopic pregnancies, it wasn't like any real deep dive to really correct those issues. They just kind of took it as like I'm barren or I'm infertile. That girl can't have children, like that type of
Yeah.
thing. So not being able to go to anybody that looked like me and to be able to share thoughts about it, that was hard. That
Yeah.
was really, really hard. I would say I'm lucky to have went through it at the time that I did, just because we're so social media heavy. And there
Mm-hmm.
was this Facebook group called IVF support group. It's very diverse, very diverse.
Yeah.
So that
Awesome.
group has helped. That group has helped. Yeah,
Yeah, I really love that there are Facebook communities out. There's so many Facebook communities for like anything, but I love that you were able to find one, and one that was diverse.
very diverse, very
Yeah.
diverse. And there were a couple times like you can go into like a fertility clinic. And then not only if you happen to see somebody look like you, just if I did see like another black woman, they were there not for the same issues that I were there for. Like maybe they
Mm,
were in a homosexual relationship.
hmm.
So because they were in that type of that type of union, then that was their only way to conceive anyway. So it
Yeah.
wasn't that they didn't have like two healthy uteruses that could probably conceive their own children, but they had to, go get sperm or find donor embryos, that type of thing. They wasn't having like the issues that I was having. So I still didn't feel that connection.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So when it came to doing IVF, like what do you feel was like the hardest part of that process that I would say nobody warned you about, but I guess it's the hardest part?
The hardest part. So I'm in the military and I use basic training and like the gas chamber is like my hardest thing I've ever done within life, right? So when I felt like I was real tough, like it's nothing else in the world I could ever come across that was harder than the gas chamber until I met IVF, baby. Those shots, like having to give yourself injections daily for weeks
Yeah.
was probably the hardest thing, not only just physically, but mentally and emotionally. So in the early part of IVF, so you give yourself shots in the stomach to kind of like, like as women, every month during our cycle, like that, your eggs are getting ready to just I say get juicy. And the
Yeah.
ones that don't stick, they pass through your cycle, right? So in IVF, you give yourself injection in the stomach to make more because if you want to make more, that gives you a higher chance so that you can be able to get them juicy eggs, put them where you need to be able to do, and get like a lot more embryos. So you do a
Yeah.
lot of those shots in the stomach just to be able to enhance that. That's one thing that I hated in the beginning. And then when you get ready to transfer the embryo into you, you give shots in your butt.
Mm,
Those bad boys took me down.
yeah.
The first couple when we first tried, Tyler would help me sometimes. And I think I hated that because he would go slow, trying not to hurt me. You need to get them things in fast. Hurts worse. Trying to inject those fast. And then keep in mind, Remy, you're doing this every day for 12 to 13 weeks. So you're doing like you start the week before the embryo transfer, and
Hmm.
then you keep going. So because you're basically trying to tell your body to not reject this foreign object, right?
Right.
And so even when you get that positive pregnancy test, you still have to give yourself shots. So that is also triggering because it's like I'm pregnant now. I want to stop the shots. Well, you can't. You
Yeah.
need to make sure you get through at least 10 to 11 weeks to make sure that body has, embraced this artificial pregnancy.
Yeah.
So that was hard for me because I was like, I don't want to do it. And then
Yeah.
the second and third transfer, I knew what to expect, which made it worse
Yeah.
because it just seemed like it was forever.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So like, oh my gosh. Yeah. I think that's one of the things. If I don't hear anything else about IVF, I hear how difficult those like daily injections are and like just hearing you say that, girl, like 12 weeks,
A
that's crazy.
long, it's a long
Oh my
time.
gosh.
Like
Every
it's a
single day.
long
Wow.
time.
Yeah.
Every single day. And then if you skip a day, then you're freaking out and you're like, you know, and then
Yeah.
it's also very expensive. So you have different shots. Of course, you have to draw through different from the different vials.
Mm-hmm.
Just for say, like you forget, like maybe you Friday, you don't realize that you'll have enough to come to Saturday and Sunday. Now you're like freaking out trying to get like a rush order,
Yeah.
and missing a day or two can go through your system, so like your body won't know to chill out, right?
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that you're remembering and not forgetting your shots.
You know, honestly, what I'm thinking about is I think it's so crazy that like doctors literally send you home and let you inject yourself every single day with
Like,
needles.
I'm glad you said that. Look, and the crazy thing is too,
You know we can't be fully serious by it. I'm sorry, go ahead.
like you trust me? You trust me to give myself a shot in my butt. And then not only that, like some doctors, they tell you what you gotta buy, right? They don't even give you the demonstration on how to put the medicine in the vials, dry it up in the right place. Like we really Google the perfect placements of your butt, like
My
to
gosh.
put it in. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I this is crazy.
Yeah, that
This is
is crazy. That
crazy.
is crazy. So I'm gonna pause for just a second. How long are you good for? Because my mama's about to walk in the door and I know she's gonna say something.
Look, you are good. I text Tyler and was like, hey, just somebody.
Okay, okay, good. Because I was like, she just be surprising me, and I kid you not, anytime I have an interview, she just randomly come home early, and I'm like, girl, what is you doing? So I'm like, I know she gonna see you, and I know she gonna say something. So I'm just like preparing for it. But yeah, no, I was like, that's what I was thinking too, because I'm like, I just know us, like we can be serious, but at the same time, we're not gonna be. Like,
We
okay,
not like
we're
we not.
not. And it's good because I think that that's one of the things that I love about I mean, just being black, the black community, joy is just one of the ways in which we get through stuff. So,
I was just looking at the thread of like Black laughter. You probably have seen like so many songs. Like I know I love being black. I really love being black.
yeah, 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 especially in those moments.
'Cause you done been around me. When I get around that, I'm doing. I can't help it. I gotta touch you.
Yeah.
I gotta touch you.
Hey, mom. I'm doing an interview, but I'm talking to Porsha. You want to say hey real quick?
Hey, hey.
She can't see. You got to come over here.
I'm so weak. Oh, you know she's right.
How you doing?
Jackie, how are you doing?
Tired.
Oh, you look so good. You look like Grandma T.
I'm trying, babe. I'm trying. She said you look like T.
You are. That's so
Of
pretty.
course. Of course. I still got to get my baby her gift. I ain't forgot about it now.
You always hook up with some gifts. We appreciate you.
I ain't forgot about little Queenie now.
We come home around Easter, so where you get that tumbler from? That's pretty.
On TikTok.
Oh, it's even real Edgefield County.
It is, isn't it? I didn't even think about it like that. I just because the thing is that I like peaches. Like, I mean, I like peach designs.
Yeah,
You look at that. Look at you calling out the country girl. You so observant. Like,
it's so pretty though. Like,
yeah. Thank you. Yeah, them TikTok shops. They get you.
TP lives for TikTok shop. I need to start. I don't be
Yeah,
believing in it. I don't know. I don't be thinking it's real. Is it real? Like,
it is.
I got some chair stashes. I did get some chair stashes
Oh
for the
yeah,
first thing
yeah,
for the baby's party, and they were nice.
yeah, yeah. It is. Well, I had bought them because I bought my mama one. I can't remember for what because she liked turtles, so they had like a really pretty turtle one.
Turtles?
And then I think she had, yeah, I think they had like she laughing. I think the shit must have had like a sale or some special or something. Yeah, so I got mine too. So yeah, it's
Oh,
nice
okay.
though. It's good. I bought me some Beyonce stickers off there. They were really good, like really nice quality.
I'm about to go
Yeah, yeah. Do it. Don't
type
don't
that
get too
random
stuck.
stuff.
But yeah, all you gotta do is just get on there, and it's usually the lives that get you. when they be on lives and then they just know how to do it where it's exciting.
Yeah,
Like, you
yeah.
don't even be wanting that stuff, and then I ended up with, like, a random box of, like, little squishy toys. I'm like, "What am I do with this?"
It's the
Alright.
shipping though. Like it be having shipping. Like Amazon has ruined me.
Yeah, it does.
I don't
Yeah,
believe I
it
should pay for
does.
shipping for nobody.
Yeah, that's one thing they definitely have done because I'm like, I usually consider canceling my Prime, but then I'm like, "Dang, but then I'm gonna pay for shipping, so I don't think so."
$5.99 for shipping?
How dare
That's
you?
great.
All right, girl, let me bring this back. So, I think you were just sharing a really good bit about, kind of what this journey was like. And I mean, I'm kind of just stuck on the injections, honestly. But while you were going through that process and, the transfers, how did you balance, like hope, and fear, uncertainty, all of these different feelings around it throughout that?
Actually, I learned a lot about me. I think I learned about a lot more about life going through the process. I know it's crazy because I think I was like, what, 30, 29 going through it. I think all through my life, I was so used to just like, if I put my mind to something, I'm going to be successful at it. Like, like if
Mm-hmm.
I go to school, get good grades, I'm going to get rewarded for it. Like, I'm just going to get the things I put in, I'm going to get it back. So IVF was just a tricky thing because, like, so we went through 3 cycles, right? 3 transfers. Well, I have 2 children, so that could tell you that one
Mm-hmm.
of my cycles did not work. That very first cycle was not successful, and we used 2 embryos.
Mm.
So that was like, okay, I did everything I supposed to have did, right? Like I had everything
Yeah.
lined up perfectly, and the percentages of them working under 35 was like 60%. Like I should have been at 60%. To figure out that I was like in that 40%, that was like really, really, it really broke my heart. It broke my heart,
Yeah.
and it just really brought it back to reality. It's like sometimes you play a game, you're just not gonna be the winner. Like no matter
Yeah.
how much you prepare for it, no matter how much you think that you should win or you're doing the right things, you're just not gonna win. And so that was just very eye opening. And we did 2 embryos, so that was like, gosh, like I lost two in my count
Yeah.
when after we did like the egg retrieval and mixed it up with Tyler's sperm, we had 8 embryos. Just to put it in perspective. So we had eight
Okay.
embryos. So that took me down 2 with no baby. And then the next one stuck, which had Deuce, and then my third transfer stuck, and I had Tyler. So both of those things were like really positive, but it's still one of those things of like, hey, you just don't know. You can always pray that your transfer is going to be successful. You're going to be not only out of an embryo, but now you're out of money. You don't get any of that money back. There's no sort of like policy that says like, hey, if the transfer doesn't work, you get money back. I wish,
Yeah.
but no, it doesn't
Yeah.
work that way. So
Yeah.
just
And
praying.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, thank you for being honest about it because it does cost money. And, I just want to kind of take it back a little bit. You talk about like, IVF isn't something that we think that Black people do. And I mean, do you think that money is one of the reasons?
Absolutely. Because when you hear that's expensive, like I think even somebody told you like the entire process like 3,000, and it was like you had to pay cash, you're probably like, okay, that's still like a lot. But no, we're talking
Yeah.
like 20, 25. Yeah, like and just being like you said, like there's a high percentage of wealthy Black people, but a lot of the ones who just not sure of like their fertility structure or how to be able to go through it, they may not have that money they could just put out. And then it's the uncertainty part of it. Like even if I knew for a
Yeah.
fact it worked, I could max out my 401k, do all that, but you could do all that and it still not work for you.
Yeah.
And that's really hard for a lot of us to be able to come to terms with because we supposed to be able to just pop out babies, right? It's also be an issue for us because we have a lot of
Yeah. Yeah, and that was one of the other things I was thinking about too. I mean, there really is this expectation, this really stereotype that Black women are supposed to be hyper fertile and that we should be able to just have kids. Like it's no problem.
right,
Yeah. I
right.
do love that you brought up the whole the genetics part of it, how it, is in our family. And I think that you touched on this, but one of the things I'm thinking is, I think one of the things I'm trying to say is that even though we do come from historically marginalized communities, there are aspects in which we do have more privilege. And I think that, like you said, this time period that you're going through, that we're in, that in a way gives us a little bit more privilege than like our aunts had, they probably have any kind of access to this information or, maybe even like you said, like the financial resources to be able to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely that. And then like I'm not gonna say negative connotations, but it was definitely negative connotations to it like back in the day. If you thought about, I say test tube baby because that's what they said a lot.
Right.
And it just was like if you did go through that process, now the child is like the science experiment, you know? So
Hmm.
you really kind of give them the idea that like a regular natural born child come from the process.
Yeah.
There are movies that you can check out, like Junior or Twins. Both of those have Arnold Schwarzenegger. By the way, it's weird. But yeah, but both of those movies like were had like IVF in them, right?
Yeah.
And so like even when
Right.
I saw those movies, it just it's fiction. So you like it's
Yeah.
just so
Yeah.
innovative in a sense,
Yeah, absolutely,
dramatic.
absolutely, absolutely. So, I mean, just kind of from your experience, what do you feel like? How do you feel like we can make fertility struggles more normalized in our community?
I think that continue to I mean do your own research. When someone does come to you about like, hey, they're struggling with trying to conceive, and maybe that's their heart, they want to become a mom. Just hear them out, listen to them, and also read like again read up on it. I think I could tell you what I feel like, that we could talk about in politics, but that's just kind of something out of like that's never on a platform. Then they never really talk about mandating IVF coverage for benefits, and that's something that definitely should happen. But
Yeah,
I definitely think that it should be a part of like just coverage. I think that every time you apply for a job, you look at the benefits, it should be IVF or some sort of infertility coverage. But that right there,
yeah,
I can talk about all day. But what we can do in real time, just support those loved ones. Like listen to them. Don't just say like, why don't you? I know sometimes, especially when you come from smaller southern religious based communities where it's like, maybe just stop trying so hard, just pray to God and just let it happen. Well, of course, faith without works is dead. Okay. Let's be
yeah,
clear for one.
right.
Um, so be supportive.
Yeah,
Share the IVF story, the IVF posts, and the different reels that you may come across to just be able to inform other people about it.
yeah,
Yeah, so that definitely helps. That definitely makes it better.
yeah, absolutely. So, going back a little bit, you shared like, your story of your transfers and everything. I mean, so your oldest, Deuce, what was it like when you found out that you were pregnant?
So okay, so we call him Deuce for anybody who's like that's not his name on his birth certificate. I thought that TJ was gonna be a little redundant, so he's Tyler Jr., but we call him Deuce. It is very fitting.
Hmm.
But that moment, like, gosh, like it was just the greatest thing that you could ever imagine. Like if you ever ate all day and that first thing that you ate, that feeling,
Yeah.
if you get your hair done and it is exactly what you picture it to look like that's how amazing I felt. Like I couldn't even cry because I was still just in shock. And with IVF, you already robbed of like a lot of those wonderful, just unplanned surprises. Me and Tyler was already like, reading on IVF groups about like which test to buy, that you get like an early reading 5 days before this period, all that. So I snuck and got a test. He already gave me tests. They were like negative, but we were doing too early. And
Mm.
I snuck and got my own test while he was at work,
Hmm.
right? And so I took the moment to process it. I was like, I recorded a video. I have to show you that video sometime
Yeah.
because it was crazy. But then I wanted to make sure that I can give some sort of surprise. Yeah, he knew the IVF, but at the same time, we went to a negative, right? So I had it on the bed for him to see, and that was just even more great for him to see because I was like, I felt like I was robbing him of that. And so to have like a somewhat of a surprise that I could like present to him when he came home. Okay, that was the icing on the
Yeah.
already 6 layer cake that I was gonna enjoy by myself. Like it's nothing being. I don't think the only thing I think it has compared to that first positive was just like the day of delivery. I guess
Yeah.
like but gosh, I could just bottle that up and sell it
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I
or to
love
sell it.
that. Yeah. Oh my God. It sounds amazing. It sounds like it would sell out.
Gosh,
My gosh. So I think before I move on, I would like to ask you, you've already shared like your love for Tyler, how much you love your husband, you love your man.
Love him.
I think one of the things I want to ask, you did touch on it a little earlier. But what do you feel is different about him? Like what do you feel is different about your relationship with him compared to any other, relationship or experience you've had?
So we are a really great balance. Like we're so different. So like, and I think that that is always very healthy. But the difference with Tyler is that like he really just tries to fill in the gaps. But he also I allow him to lead, and I fully accept when he leads. And but that was hard in the beginning because I was so used to being like that strong person. Like I was so used to God just being impressed with what I brought to the table. So
Yeah.
he was like, those things are cute, but I can enhance you, right? And I
Okay.
think we both did that for each other without feeling like the other person was like telling me how to do it.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, I'm trying to see what else was it that just really brought us in. And then he has some characteristics of my dad. I think that my dad was like a really great person to watch. And I felt like
Mhm.
he had some of the better parts of my dad too.
Okay. Shout out Uncle Clarence. He don't got the annoying parts of your daddy.
Nah, because Clarence will be too much, like too much
That's one of my favorite
sometimes, you
things is to
know?
see how I love that like when you're siblings, that just does not change how old you are. So I love when I watch him like pester my mama. And I be
He really think like he loves his sisters now. Like, I mean, he loves all his siblings, but it's something about his
right,
sisters, like the older
right.
ones, the younger ones. He just feels like he's supposed to protect all of them.
Mhm. I like that.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah, yeah.
With Tyler, like what's the one thing that he does that still makes you melt like every time?
Boy,
Seriously.
but no,
Purely
let's see.
exist.
Yeah. So he listens. Like he's a very active listener. Like
Mm,
not passive at all. Like he is one of those things where like if you think you're gonna ask him, like what I just said, he gonna tell you what he just said. He may not
yeah.
necessarily be looking at you because he can do so many different things, but he's a really great listener. And then he's like one of those old school manly, like really manly men. Like
Mhm.
he don't use the instructions for nothing. And there's something with, I say like he has the best balance of like one of those old school manly men mixed with like these high tech millennials because he still uses like YouTube and TikTok. So like it may be something he's never done before, but he'll go to one of those, watch a couple times, and he's out the door like
Yeah.
putting radios in, fixing radios or whatever it is. Like
Mhm.
he's that.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Yeah. That makes sense that he's a listener. I'm like, he's one of those like just quiet. That's that's what I know. He's just quiet.
He heard man. He be quiet. If I'm talking to one of the girls or whatever, he might not say nothing weird like like a kickback or something or with like friends in the
Mhm.
car. He like she said to them like he heard everything.
That makes sense. That
He
makes
heard
sense.
everything.
So, what do you feel has been one of the most unexpected parts of motherhood?
The one of the most unexpected parts. Let me see. I think trying to think about it because it's so much to me has so many layers, but I'm not really sure if like if it was unexpected. I think I didn't expect it to be so at a certain magnitude, right?
Mm,
Like even when it came to balancing work and just being a mother and then being a wife and all those different things, I didn't realize it was going to tire me out as much as it does to
mhm.
this point. So like sometimes I'm like I just don't see how I find this like backup. Like 2 days ago I was sick, really really sick, just really vomiting, all that good stuff, but
Oh no.
I still had to be a mom, I still had to cook, I
Right.
still had to do those things. And I'm like, I understand why my mom was like, just take the chicken out. You know, like that's the
Right.
least we could have done back in 2005. Just take the freaking chicken out. She had
Just
a
take it out the
long
freezer.
day. That's all you had to do. She would have been happy. But we didn't do that. So like, so some of those things I'm like, yeah, I didn't expect it to be at the level it is
Yeah.
now. I thought it was gonna
Yeah.
have a little bit more easier. But yeah, I would still say this is the best hood to be a part of, but it be taking me through in
Yeah.
bars on the windows. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely get that.
Yeah.
So if you can go back and talk to Portia at the start of this journey, what's something you would tell yourself?
I would tell myself, and this, I think we say this a lot when we're talking to people, but you really have to believe in it, is that your timeline is your timeline. Your path is for you. It's so easy to say it, but truly believe it. Do not compare your journey and your time to anyone else's. Seriously, because whenever it happens to you, it will still be just as beautiful, just as deep and meaningful as it would have been if you had started around the same time. I still struggle with that now because I'm like, I may take my child to an event and like the moms are 23, 24. Here I am 35. You have to, you have to believe that. Right? What I mean that it's like just stay focused on what you're focused on and just know that the people who love you will celebrate you regardless of how old you are. 55, 45, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So that part is just still hard for me sometimes, but we making it. We get it. We
Yeah.
get it. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing
Mhm.
that.
Yes. So it's no problem at all. Like and then also too, I say this, and then I'll let you move on. But also sometimes your timeline, it might not even, it's not even just like how late you'll start, but just the way it lines up. So if you really, really want to be a mom and you find a person that maybe wants support, and maybe marriage isn't something that you want to do it, even if the child comes before marriage or the house comes before the child in marriage, whatever the I guess the order is for you. Also, don't let that distract your journey as well. If that's something you want to do, take a leap, do it,
Mm,
support it,
yeah.
support it.
Yeah. I think that's awesome. I think there are definitely a lot of people who need to hear that whole message. So thank you for that. So what's something that you would love for your kids to know about how hard you guys fought to bring those babies here?
You got some good questions, man. I think about that all the time.
Really?
I do. I really
Yeah.
do. I do imagine myself in a couple of years, and every time I'm annoyed to remind them of like how much they cost. But on the flip side of that, just to let them know that like, mommy and daddy hard for you. Like we loved you before your faces were constructed to be the beautiful faces they are. We loved you, and nothing would have stopped us from making sure that we can bring you earthside. Okay. Like the C-sections, oh gosh, the worst part. I really did not expect that to be part of my journey. That I would
Yeah.
do it. I would do the shots again. I would do C sections again. I would walk on swollen feet. If it just meant for me to hear your cry, to hear your thank you, mommy, I love you, mommy, whatever, I would do it. I would do it. I would. I would. Yes, like yeah. Before you were you, I love you. I love you. Really. Yeah, I
Yep.
love the baby. So.
Yep. I love that.
That that's what I would want them to know, that they were super loved. They were chosen. I joke when I call them my former freeze pops sometimes now that they were frozen. 'Cause they they were my heart. They were. They were.
Oh my gosh. Now I'm just like, I'm gonna have to stop myself from looking at them babies like some little Italian popsicles. Like, oh my God. Hold up now, hold up. Since they little freeze pops, what flavors are they?
Oh, sour apple. That little baby. The baby is sour apple. The baby is sour apple, and the oldest one, he's definitely just like. If I had asked him, he would just say blue. Like he wouldn't even say he wouldn't say like blueberry, nothing. He was just like, I'm like, what flavor? How does it taste? Blue. It tastes blue. So he's a blue one, and she's sour apple.
Oh my gosh. I can see that. Yeah, I can see all of that.
Yeah.
So, Portia, girl, I love you so much. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
just all of this. And I always love, I mean, you're not only vocal about how much you love your husband and your kids. Like, you're vocal, you really are a people lover because you do this and you hit me because I'll be like, we just be hanging out and then you just be like, girl, let me tell you how I love you. And I'd be like, stop, but thank you. And I just be like, out of nowhere too. And it's beautiful. That's one of the things I really do love and appreciate about you so much. So I'm really grateful that you and I got to be family. It's like really hitting me. I'm a cry, but I'm just like, dang man, we really are family and it's crazy. But yeah, so girl, that's my way of saying I love you.
He's so dope. I can go on and on about how amazing you are and everything like that. Like I think we been on the same time, like when it comes to like just making sure that our family know. Like you hit me with a question like,
Yeah.
"Hey, do you got this on your tree?" And I love those questions because we learn so much about
Yeah.
the people coming before us and everything. So it's always so
Yeah.
beautiful. But
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one thing I did want to say is that it was because of you that I learned about the infertility issues in our family because I never knew that and I never thought about it because there are so many kids in our family. Like, and I mean, all of us being first cousins, like, there's so many first cousins. Like, you don't think about it, like, at least I didn't. So I'm really grateful that, like, yeah, just being able to, like, learn that from you and I'm gonna say it again, your love for people, your love for our family. So, and I love that, you and I are able to connect in that aspect as well and kind of keep our learning and research and our history going. I think that's so important.
I'm so grateful that you allowed me to come to your platform and speak about it. Because, like, if anybody knows, when you get me talking about IVF, like, sometimes I'll go off on a tangent and I'll probably like, overshare. And it's because, like, when I was going through, I did so much researching, and
Yeah.
Google's good. Google's good, but sometimes it doesn't really give you like the real nitty gritty. So
Hmm.
I always say, like, if you hear me talking, if you see a post, if you see someone drop my name, whatever, like, reach out to me. Whatever
Hmm.
way, if you got my number, you got my email, if you see my Instagram, like, I love to talk about IVF. I love to be able to educate people on things that I did not get to learn about, I didn't get to read about, or even if you have read thousands of books, like, just to be able to talk about it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
will listen for days. Like, literally, I could talk about it for a full day. So just be able to come on here today and talk about it, yeah, it made my week. I'm so passionate about it, like, so passionate.
I love that. I love that so much. Yeah. So like any of your information that you're open to share with people, I will happily share that in the show notes in the show description. I'm so glad. I'm happy to give you the space, the platform. I have one final segment, but before we go into that, is there anything else that you would like to share or touch on that we might not have even gotten to today?
Oh, I think that you had like a lot of great, a lot of great questions that brought about like a lot of insight to share. I would just encourage people to, take some time to read, to learn. And even though I mentioned about like my tube situation, there's so many other journeys that bring you to IVF. So even if your journey looks different than mine, then it could still be an option for you. Or maybe you don't have to take it that far. Maybe there may be IUIs, which is another thing to look up, that can help you get the family that you desire and long for.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I know that like so the actress Michelle Buteau.
What is she
So
playing?
she's a Netflix show Survival of the Thickest. She plays in like a lot of other stuff. She's like light skinned, big curly hair, plus size girl.
Yes, was she on? What was? I know
First
exactly what you're
Wives
talking
Club.
about. Yes, it was that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I think she had like I call him Tariq, her husband or whatever. That was on
Yeah,
Sister
yeah,
Sister.
that was her
Yeah,
husband.
yeah,
Yep,
yeah,
yep.
yeah.
Yeah, so that was one of the things that I think I remember reading her story because she had to go through IVF and she talked about how exhausting like the entire process was. And I don't remember how many rounds she did, but ultimately she found out for her that she did IVF because she had a small benign tumor on her brain that just happened to be in the part where her body thought it was pregnant. So it technically would
Wow,
never let her get pregnant. Right?
wow.
Yeah, yeah. So
That
she had to
is
go through IVF for that, and none of her rounds worked, basically. So
that is really. I mean, that's a whole different look on it as well. And then by you say her, by her being a plus size woman, that makes it even more harder on the journey. To be honest with you, because they'll tell you that you're a certain size, you have to lose weight before you even get the IVF talk started.
yeah,
That adds like some extra, just hardship to try to be able to conceive.
yeah.
Yeah, and you said silver rounds. Like I did know a coworker, and they are white, and they went through 10 rounds. 10 rounds, right?
My
So that
gosh.
also kind of shows you like the disparity of like, they can afford 10 rounds. And
Yeah,
like
yeah,
not
yeah, yeah.
like I empathize for you and I'm so very sorry it took you that long, but you can afford 10
You
rounds,
could afford
right?
10 rounds. Yeah,
Like, I could not have, and these were not just 10 rounds, they were 10 full egg retrievals. So that means you had to go in and do a whole process. Like I had one egg retrieval, just put in perspective, one egg
yeah,
retrieval that 3 rounds came out of. If you don't
Yeah.
have any embryos, you have to go through the full egg retrieval just to have a round, which is even more expensive.
Wow.
I don't know no black friends of mine. They could have. I'm. I'm gonna leave it there before we keep
Honestly,
moving it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I
yeah.
don't. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Portia, thank you so much again. So before I let you go, one of the things I like to do with my guests, you can say no if you don't want to do it, but I like to do a rapid fire session. Would you be open to doing that? Okay, okay. All right, let me get some water real quick.
Yeah. I need to look at DC. I just be yamming. No, I need water.
Well, like I love this tumbler because it's like the best way for me to like I drink more when I drink out of it, but it's metal, so it be clanging, and I'm like, I probably should get something that's quieter. Okay.
You can put water in anything. I've been drinking slow. I need to drink faster. If you put liquor in that tumbler, it be gone.
I can't. I love that you can. I don't know something about my 35-year-old body that says no, I can't do it no more. And I'm like, all
Cooler in
right.
my legs now, though, and that's bad. So I think it's probably time for me to wrap.
Yeah. Man, I can't. I have like zero tolerance now. It's like, what is alcohol in my body? It's like, I don't know, but I ain't taking it.
It's Booster, because Booster ain't in you.
It ain't. He ain't nowhere.
Granddaughters of a
So one of Beyonce songs, she said, what she said, grandbaby of a moonshine man. And I was like, I need to put that on a shirt and all of us need to wear it. All of us need to.
tell me, tell me. Let's get these shirts. Let's
I'm
get
telling you,
these
I'm
shirts
telling you.
together.
I gotta figure it out. I gotta figure it out. Okay. But I'm gonna do it. Okay. So I gotta get chapstick
Ah,
and make this t-shirt. Cause
yeah. Okay.
she said that and I was like, ooh, that hit me.
Them shirts gonna sell out. They no Booster. They no Booster,
Lord.
baby.
Oh my gosh. Oh, okay. This is what I mean too. Okay. So the other thing too is that doing like all the ancestry research, I told you how like I'll do like 1 month and I'm full blown. So it was really fun though because I found like all these news articles about Booster and I was like, Mom, so is this Booster who got rated for moonshine? Okay. This one too? Okay. And this one too? Okay. All right, girl.
See these clips. I want to see these articles.
I gotta find them and send them to you because like the way they are is that like they won't let you look at them if you ain't still paying for it. But I think I took screenshots of them,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna look for them so I can send them to you. But yeah, girl, yeah. All right, that's our grandfather, y'all, moonshine
Yeah.
man. Okay, all right, Portia. Okay, so 90s R&B or 2000s hip hop.
These R&B live. Okay.
Cook at home or order out.
Order out
Your go-to comfort food.
Chinese food.
Yum. Oh my god, I'm hungry now.
Order too.
What's something funny that one of your babies has done recently?
Let's see. Do some stuff every day.
I about to say he is always doing something.
I mean, it be small stuff like yesterday. I mean, just saying like, "Mommy, you got a mustache. I can see your mustache." I mean, something he did funny, but it's just like, where did you get that from? I don't have a mustache, but it was how you did it. And he tried, like, he was like, you know how you do it in those movies where they
Yeah,
undo it? Like,
yeah,
Mom, take the mustache. I know it's you. You know, that type of thing. Yeah, like that. He does so much stuff. Yeah, I
yeah,
don't know what else to say. He does, but yeah, just trying to
yeah.
take my mustache off.
That's hilarious. So people who know you best would describe you as,
He would say that people who know me best would say that she is a speaker, I guess, because they know you give me a mic, I love to speak. It don't matter. Like, hey,
mm-hmm,
anybody got any
you do.
words? I love to speak.
Yeah, you
I love
do.
to speak. I do.
What's something you believe when you were younger that adulthood has humbled you on?
Oh gosh, that $20 an hour was some money. Cause you remember when you were teens, oh, that girl making $20 an hour. You thought that was some money?
Girl, like
Yeah.
what you doing with that?
Okay. But that also when we was making 5.75 at like McDonald's $2. So
That's like the crazy thing when you think back and you realize like how little money you were making.
it was balling.
I'm
But
like, how?
check. I was in Baker's, girl. Spend my check on Baker's. Like, thought it was cute. Man.
What's a piece of parenting advice that you thought was ridiculous but actually turned out to be true? Yeah, I didn't tell you the questions get a little harder as I go on.
A little bit, but it's making me think. It's making me think. I would say like when you find a good daycare, of course, find a good daycare. Like leaving them at daycare during the time that you pay for.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
I was just one of them, like I love to spend time with my children, and I was like, oh, I don't want to leave them too long. Like, I want to go get them at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock when I was working from home. But like
Mhm.
my friends be like, girl, are they safe? Do they like daycare? Picking them up before it closed. Like,
Yeah,
I can
yeah,
go as fast, but they're not the last kids there. But I'll at least get them to like, 3, right? And
yeah,
not kill myself because now I'm getting them at 1 o'clock when I could have used that time for to decompress after a call or clean or cook. So shout out to the moms that was saying like the babies that they care, they stay. So I
yeah,
learned. I
yeah.
learned.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
So what's one thing you're most proud of right now?
The one thing I'm most proud of is being at peace. Being at peace. Over the last, since becoming a mom, I've learned I will cut off anything I wanted to protect my peace, baby. I will. And that's something, brother, auntie, even Chinese food, comfort. If Chinese food is messing my stomach too much, I will cut it off as much as I love it. But I will protect my peace, right?
Yeah,
And I'm so proud that I'm at this peaceful moment that I don't spend hours trying to like figure out how to get stuff done. I'm at peace.
yeah. I
I'm
love
at
that.
peace. Yeah,
I love that.
love it.
Hey, girl, that's the last question I have for
Yeah,
you.
girl, you're making me think today. Like,
That's what I'm here to do.
man, I love it. I love it. Oh, I pray that people get to hear your podcast from the masses, like all across different countries and see so they can feel your aura.
Thank you, girl. Thank you. I appreciate it, and I received that.
Yes.
I receive it. Well, girl, we are good here. It wasn't anything else you wanted to say?
Um, Nothing much to say. Thank you. If it's anybody out there who have extra questions, who just want to learn more, or just, even do a deeper dive on some of the things I didn't mention, feel free to reach out. I'm an open book. I want to hear your story. I want to be your support, to help you get to the, because children are beautiful. And also, I think I didn't say this too. I'll probably end with this note by saying that if you do take the route of IVF and it doesn't work for you, right? Or if anything else that you try that does not make you less of a woman. If
Mm,
you're not fortunate enough to bear your own children, or maybe adoption isn't your route. That doesn't make you less of a woman if you can't. You're still a woman, whether or not being a mom does not make you a woman. Being a wife doesn't make you a woman. So I'll still embrace who you are. I love who you are. And if you have to cry because maybe you thought that it was your path and you found it isn't, cry, scream, cuss, you know, whoever you pray to, you can get mad at them for a little bit, but sometimes like, hey, it wasn't for me. Come back, and just continue on that path because you need something to believe in. But don't let that be the reason why you feel less or less than.
thank you so much for that. Yeah, that's such a great point. And I will say that, I mentioned Michelle Buteau earlier. Even though her rounds of IVF did not work, she did go through surrogacy. And I mean, like you said, there's other options if that is the calling on your heart.
Yes, yes, that is so, so true. And I'm glad that you shared about surrogacy as well. But yeah, if that's something that you really, really love and you said, your heart, ignore the noise, ignore people telling you, well, you should just go do this. You
Hmm.
should just shut up. So that should be your answer. Like, you can't pay these bills, stay over there.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Mhm.
Girl, I love you, and I'm gonna let my mom come in here because she keep walking around. I know she wants to say bye. Ma,
Listen, so
you want to tell Portia bye? Bye, sweetie.
I love you so much.
I love you too. Y'all
I
be
just
safe
love
now.
you. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You hear that
I
talk?
mean my
Good
cheese
country.
pull. I mean cheese pull. Love you.
Love you too. Y'all got good snacks over there, I know.